Hello everyone, I'm Curch. Today I want to introduce you to my first ever starting lineup review made by Kenner Toys back in 1988. I thought I'd start off with a very iconic line, the football line, probably the most popular in the Kenner series. And what better team to start off with than the San Francisco 49ers? Not my favorite team, but back in the late 80s, this was the team to beat. So we're going to start off. Lots of great Hall of Fame players. Our first item, Joe Montana. Who doesn't like Joe Montana? This figure, very classic pose. Quarterback pose, obviously. But this was one of the figures back in the day. Joltin' Joe was one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. And this figure represented his number, of course his name on the back. Classic red and gold. One thing I like about this figure, it stands up very well. This figure is a very sturdy pose. A lot of figures will fall over the top, or the base wasn't big enough, but Joe had a good base. Next up, one of his best receivers. I'm sure you know who I'm going to say. Jerry Rice, number 80. No one did it better than number 80. As you can see, his name and number on the back. I love the back of a starting lineup figure. I love the name, the number. And of course, every great team has a great running back. They had Roger Craig. Roger Craig wearing his number 33. Again, the red and gold for 88. Great choice. A little tidbit of information for complete collectors like myself. The helmet for 1988, okay, never had the date inside. No date whatsoever. Just a smooth inner base on the helmet. When we get to 89 figures, I'll tell you the difference. Getting back to the line, 1988, Ronnie Lott. Again, another Hall of Fame player. Wearing his number 42. Name on the back. A little bit of not of a sturdy base on this one. That's how the defensive backs, the pose is a little tipsy at times. You have to be careful when you display them. Another defensive player, Michael Carter. One of my favorite poses is the lineman pose with the hands up in the air. Again, not a very sturdy base, but this pose is fantastic for me anyway. I know a lot of guys do not like this pose. I thought it looks great, and in the package it looks even better. You'll notice his helmet has the extra bar. Defensive players, I should say defensive linemen, use this extra bar for their helmets. That's what Kenner used. Pretty cool looking. Sometimes in 89, you'd find a defensive player that did not have that bar. It happened once in a while. Kenner was famous for just using leftover items. So that might be a reason. On to the 89 set. We went to the white and gold. White jersey, gold pants. Steve Young. Of course, we all know who Steve Young is. Again, another famous quarterback. Number 8. Actually started off with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But this is his first starting line figure in 1989. Notice it's left-handed. Kenner wasn't really sure what to do with the left-handed quarterback, so they kind of did the same pose for quite some time. They didn't know what else to do. But it worked. Again, Joe Montana. Still on the team. Still throwing well. Still loved by all fans. These figures, not all of them, but many were just released regionally. Released regionally in 88 and 89. They were big sets, and Kenner decided that's the way they're going to distribute them. Roger Craig again. And of course, Jerry Rice. This was a rather common figure. Some figures were released in an all-star case, and you'd find many of the bigger names, more popular names in this all-star case. Jerry Rice and Joe Montana were two of those figures. Figures like the Steve Young, this one I'm going to show you next, Michael Carter. They were just released regionally. Regionally, I mean just in the California area, West Coast area. Once in a while, you'd see a scenario where they'd kind of get lost and they'd make their way to other areas of the country, but normally just a regional release. This went on until 1991. Ronnie Lott, once again, white jersey. These first two 49ers sets are just loaded with Hall of Fame caliber players. Great set. If you're going to start collecting, these would be the ones to start with. And of course, the last one for 89, Charles Haley, in my favorite pose. Now you remember I said earlier about the helmet. After 88, the 89 helmets, hope I could get this to show up, were stamped with the NFL PA, or NFL, probably NFLP they had in here, NFLP for the players. That was stamped inside. I don't know if I get that to show up that well. And also it was stamped 1989. And these were stamped 1989 for a few years after, even if it was 90, 91, 92, and so on. They still stamped them 89. It was just a mold that they were using. But again, Kenner liked to reuse things. So if they had any left over 88 helmets, they were packaging them with 89s. So the figures, 88, 89 set, there was 5 in the 88s and 7 in the 89s. So pretty larger sets for a football team, but they were so popular. So I hope you enjoyed the review today on the 88-89 Kenner starting lineup San Francisco 49ers. If you have a favorite team, a favorite pose, a favorite player, please comment, post. If you want to see a picture of anything, I could hopefully provide you with a picture or any information I'd love to share. So until next time, this is Curch signing off.